I'm Kathy Vines, and I'm so excited to be launching Surfing the Quicksand. It's a podcast for midlife women who want to get unstuck. I've been asked for years if I would ever do a podcast, and honestly, it's something I'd wanted to do, and I didn't because I was stuck. I was stuck because I thought the only way that I could do a podcast is you have to do a niche, it has to be the thing you're known best for, and for me, that would have been organizing. My business, Clever Girl Organizing, is how a lot of people know me, and I have a really deep and rich relationship with the organizing community, with those principles. I love the work that I do in that space. But I'm a lot more than just organizing and productivity. And I knew that I didn't want to just talk about organizing and productivity, even though I can talk about it for hours and hours, and I probably will here. You see, I'm in that phase where I kind of have a portfolio professional life, and some people may know me through the organizing life. Some people know me as a career coach and professional resume writer. This came out of my first career, my first chapter, 20 years in human resources. And I found myself at 42, laid off, and after 20 years in HR, not really feeling a 21st one in me at the time. And I knew, while I had always had a vision for what I thought 20 years out of graduate school might look like, I don't think I had a vision for what 21 and beyond would look like. And I found myself facing uncertainty. I remembered that about 10 years earlier, I had learned about professional organizing as a career through watching Peter Walsh on Clean Sweep, if that's something you know. And it was in my head as a someday maybe career. And I felt, is this someday? Is my someday now? So I decided I would try it and try for a year and see how it goes. And as you can tell, the rest was history. I loved it. I've built my business into something that I never imagined I would, right? If you had told me 12, 13 years ago that I was going to have a book, I'd be in a dozen magazines, I'd be in national newspapers, I'd be on television. If you told me any of those things, I would not have believed you because I didn't aspire to do those things. This is just how this journey has evolved for me. And on the career coaching side and professional resume side, I've really been able to specialize in these people that I love working with the most. Gen X and older millennials, people who are mid-career, maybe even later career now. Because remember, my Gen X and older millennial folks 12 years ago were much younger and at a different stage in their career. Now, as they've shifted and I've shifted, so have how I worked with them. Whether it's on the organizing side or on the career coaching side, my core people I have always known are the Gen X and older millennials. And that's why this podcast is for midlife women, the Gen X and older millennials, that 40 to 60 range. It's people who are in this stage of life that feels short and long in the same moment. And lots of people, maybe everyone, feels a little stuck. I feel like through my businesses, I've really been working with people to help them get unstuck. And that's what this podcast is going to be about. The other side of what I really brought to this time in my life and why I feel so compelled to take this on is I'm someone who's also shifting to be more involved in caretaking for aging parents. I know a lot of my friends, a lot of my clients, a lot of our generation really are paying more attention to that. It's becoming a bigger part of our life, our time, our energy, our money, however it is that we are in a support role, both directly with them or across with siblings and other family members. And I know what a big undertaking that can be for people, and everybody's story has been so different. I find that I'm doing a lot more work with my clients, not to mention friends, in that space of talking about these conversations. I've been working with employee resource groups at corporations doing lunch and learns about melding the two things, right? How do you help aging parents as they're transitioning, maybe downsizing, and looking at downsizing and decluttering 40 years of a life in the home that they've built with their family. And how do you do it while also keeping your relationship and your sanity intact, right? I'm so focused on not only how are we caring for our aging parents, but how are we caring for ourselves in the process? All of this keeps coming together. As I said in the beginning, I felt stuck. I felt stuck that I could only do one kind of podcast when clearly I'm so interested in so many more things. And I think so are you. So I realized, wait, I'm the boss. I'm in charge. I can do whatever I want. And if I am really committed to the work that I want to be doing, bringing inspirational conversations that can create action to help you get unstuck, whether that's across home life, work, family, relationships, your health, your wealth, all sorts of things that impact us every day, things that we worry about, stress about, dream about, all of these things can inspire us every day. And I want to be part of bringing those conversations to you and, quite frankly, to me, because I need them too. This podcast is going to be something where sometimes I'm going to have solo episodes like this one and talking about what I know best. Again, I can talk about organizing and productivity for hours and hours and hours. I will talk about it plenty, but it's not going to be the core of what this is about. I do want you to know that probably my next episode is going to be in that space and talking about kind of my core foundations in that space, right? I believe that I'm really passionate about helping people understand what they own, why they own it, where they keep the keepers. I use a lot of the work that's out of my book, Clever Girl's Guide to Living with Less, how to break free from your stuff when your head and heart get in the way. The work that I do in my annual Clever Girl Organizing Challenge, where big community spends 11 weeks together starting right after New Year's, and we're kind of reviewing every space and category in our home to declutter and get more organized. So much of the work that I've done through both of those things are, I think, going to be some great talks we're going to have here. Really think about, especially the barriers people face when letting things go, like, I might need it someday, or this was expensive, or I'd feel guilty, right? All those things that I think get in a lot of our ways and help us really stay stuck in how we're living in our home. We're going to be talking about that. And I'm going to bring on guests. I'm going to have guests, including some other organizing and productivity professionals, because I know a ton and a lot of them have really unique expertise I think you're going to get a lot out of. But also experts across all these other fields, right? Caring for aging parents, understanding what's going on with them, perimenopause and menopause and women's health, all sorts of aspects of it. Thinking about medicine and health and wellness, my gosh, we could fill so many episodes just talking about those things on our mind. But also legal issues and financial issues and technology and all sorts of different things that I think are going to inspire new ways of looking at where we're at in life, what we're struggling with, what's holding us back, keeping us stuck, and where we might envision some pathways to go forward. I'm also going to bring in another kind of guest. I'm calling them my midlife leaps. So these are women who, in midlife, in their 40s and 50s, made a big shift professionally. They made a big shift professionally, aligned with their purpose, aligned with their life, and I think their stories are inspiring. I think they're brave. And I think they just might inspire some people out there to think about their future a little differently and to evaluate what's keeping them stuck a little differently and what they can do to move forward. I really think these conversations are going to bring new ways for us to reflect on our own lives, to think about our priorities for our future, to have different conversations with our girlfriends about what we're thinking and what these conversations have been triggering for us as we're thinking about new ways. I also want to tell you about the name, why Surfing the Quicksand. Some of you will probably get it right away and already have. But when I was first kind of thinking about this and talking to some of my really closest girlfriends, and we're in a group chat, and we're talking about kind of the Gen X of it all, and one of my friends reminded me of the John Mulaney joke of, gee, I really thought, based on what we were exposed to when we were young in the 70s and 80s, I really thought that quicksand was going to be a bigger part of my future, and that learning how to get out of quicksand was going to be a life skill we'd need. And it really just kind of stuck in me. I've loved that joke and I love that reference, right? It really resonates for a lot of us who grew up on 70s and 80s TV. But then I started thinking about that image of, so what would I want for my listener? What would I want for my viewer? I want them to surf over the quicksand and not get stuck. And so that's how Surfing the Quicksand really came about. I'm one of those people, and I did this when I found Clever Girl Organizing. As soon as it got in my head, I was like, oh, that's it. So I've loved that, really been able to bring it to life. And I think it resonates with people, not only what I'm talking about, but what it can help us do. So I hope that you're going to be a part of this journey with me. I hope that you're going to also think about what you want to hear about and what might help you. Get in touch with me at Kathy@quicksandpod.com. Get in touch with me and let me know what you want to hear. If you were to listen to somebody who's going to ask the questions that you want asked, tell me what those are. I want to build this community and this journey together. I really think we can surf the quicksand together and enter this phase of life and sail through to the other side feeling happier, healthier, saner, and just unstuck. Join me, won't you?